날날 저게 무슨 날에 날라던 고 놈도 나나 당근을 같이 날랐으면 남이 없는 잘아버지라 이어져 살아 잘아버지라 이어져 살아 잘아버지라 한글로 가자 이어져 살아 이어져 살아 겨울날엔
Hi, I'm Mark, and you are listening to the sixth episode of the Halla Holla podcast. For today's episode, we head to Hallin, located in the northwestern part of the island. We are at a really cool cafe, Myeongwon Guminhakyo, because it used to be an elementary school from 1955 to 1993. Thanks to our guest, we just found that out. He saw it on the wall there, and we put it in. We're going to keep it in. I'm going to make it sound like I came up with that. Today's guest is a Texan. That's it. That's the introduction, dude. No.
Thank you, Mark.
I mean, that's enough, right, Texan? He's got 5 degrees from music all the way to a doctorate in education. He's been a truck driver, a vending machine operator, a junkyard mechanic, a cook, a waiter, a school principal, a former sailor of the U.S. Navy, and is currently a music teacher at St. Johnsbury Academy, aka SJA, one of the big 4 international schools here on the island. We have here with us today Jeju-based indie rock / pop artist Matthew Smith. Thanks for coming to Halla Holla.
Gosh, thank you so much, Mark. That's an incredible intro.
Oh, man, I was hoping I didn't run out of breath. Well, you did so many cool things. It's hard to
I mean, you just gave my whole resume. That's amazing.
There we go.
Thank you.
So, here you go. So if you hear that, if any employers, just watch this episode. You're covered.
Looking for truck driver work again if you want to. I got my CDL again.
There we go, brother. Yeah. All right, sounds good. Well, Matthew, thanks for actually inviting us here to this cafe. You were the one that suggested it. And before we get started, I'd like to point out that Matthew is actually our first guest who requested to be on Halla Holla. And when PD Nim, she showed me this DM from Matthew. I'm like, oh, we're worthy.
Oh,
we're worthy. We're worthy of, yeah.
Slid right into those
DMs, man. That was so nice. So we're really super thankful. Thanks, man. Thanks so much.
Mark, you guys are doing such good work. It was impossible for me not to contact you. Like, real talk. Here's a podcast fist bump.
Thanks very much, man. It means a lot. It means a whole lot. So let's just delve right into it. Matthew, well, you heard this intro. He's a whole lot of things. He's also a father. Father of 2. You are a musician. So, Matthew, man, take us all the way back. Where did your relationship with music begin?
Man, thanks. So I went to music school over in Denton at University of North Texas. So way back when, this was when Norah Jones was just kind of blowing up, right?
Oh, yeah.
But even back then, prior for her blowing up, she was already famous on campus. Like, her dad's Ravi Shankar.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
You know, everyone's like, hey, you know the guy from the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
His daughter goes to school here. And, like, she was already kind of, campus celebrity.
Huh.
And
okay. Wow.
Yeah,
all right.
So UNT has this kind of like open jazz thing that at one of the cafes, they call it the 1 O'Clock Band.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 1 O'Clock Band is, they're amazing. They're like later going to be all professionals.
Yeah.
But mostly seniors and juniors. Mm-hmm. And then 2 O'Clock Band is like, hey, they're pretty good. And then you get 3 O'Clock Band Matthew. It's like, I'll clean this up for y'all.
Yeah.
I can play Autumn Leaves.
Yeah. So anyway, here's Wonderwall. No, it's not that bad.
Basically.
Yeah.
So that's where I started. I started music school. I went to Temple College for music at first, then went to UNT for music. And then like mid doing music, I thought I could probably do better by doing education, so I switched to education.
So let's back up a little bit. So it kind of started in uni? Like anything before that? There was nothing. I mean, you had a whole life growing up, but it just wasn't a thing, or what?
No, that's fair. Punk rock was real big for me when I was in middle school, because just kind of being an angry Texan, like, Dad, you don't get this, you don't get it. And
Punk Texan. Yeah. That's not something you hear every day. I'm not bashing, but that's pretty neat.
For sure. And I think that's kind of where a lot of that stemmed from. Like, around middle school, high school, I started realizing, okay, what what is music to me? What do I want to be as a person? And
Yeah.
you know, roping cows and riding horses. There's no shame in that, but it just wasn't my childhood.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, to take it back to there, punk music and like hardcore.
Okay.
And then bass, and then
Maybe
for
a little
most-
bit of ska mixed in.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
Eventually joined up with a local band, and right out of high school, we got a record deal, and we're like living in a van down by the river.
Yeah.
In a van down by the river.
Yeah.
So we were into that type of music.
Okay.
And it's, hardcore metal, hardcore punk music is sort of one of those niche things, a lot like people that are into knives or maybe wristwatches
Sure.
or like,
Right.
gourmet coffee. Like if you like it, you are obsessed with it.
You wore the black band tees, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah. Like the nails and
Yeah,
the
okay.
piercings
Yeah.
and all that. And I was kind of like the square out of the group. I
Okay.
was the one that was like, hey, guys, thanks so much for coming up for our this next song is about how a really good slice of pizza is.
That's,
1, 2, 3, 4, yeah.
yeah. Well, that's interesting how you're the square of that group, but then in your family, would you say you're like the black sheep? Because you got two brothers.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, no, these guys, they did the straight and narrow, and I was more of like, college boy that later went to Korea, now Korea college
Yeah,
boy.
right.
Yeah. But for sure. Definitely music is kind of what drove me into uni, and then, yeah. But,
Very cool.
There, real quick. So we're gonna start with the first question, but you want to go like that, like the.
Oh yeah, I did skip over there. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
But like this conversation is really great.
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
I think we can shoehorn from here on to the.
Actually, we're gonna leave all this in because PD just told me that I made a mistake. We always start off with a pair of questions, but I just got too excited, man. Got too excited. Just wanted to hear.
Keep it in.
Yeah, keep it in. We're keeping all this in. So how it's supposed to work is this, and I already messed up. Is
Fine.
yes. All right, we're done. Let's get out here. The first pair of questions that we typically ask all of our guests is, who are you? We've already established that. I established that. He's been a billion things, and he's punk rock Texan. So there you go. But let's ask, what brought you to Jeju?
Oh, okay. All right. So that's fair. My name is Matthew Smith. There's a lot of us out there. There's like an abundance of Matthew Smiths out there.
Yeah.
I'm one of
There's a
many.
lot of Mark Wilsons out there.
Right?
Yeah.
There's
Yep.
even a Matthew Smith that works at another international school in Korea.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
Shout out to Matthew Smith and Incheon.
Oh, you haven't met each other? You haven't just one's got to leave?
We've howdied once, and I
Okay.
was like, this is enough. Yeah. This is far too much.
Yeah, that's right.
What brought me to Jeju? So I came here many, many years ago when I first came to Korea, just like most people came here on just on a holiday trip. But what brought me here was obviously the work. SJA was hiring, and
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy to work there, and my kids could go there. And
Right.
it's an amazing school. Not to put out a
Go for it,
advertisement
man.
them, but
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm kind of wearing two different hats. I've got like the teacher hat, so very, very happy to work there. It's an
Yeah.
amazing school, got
Yeah.
great leadership, great colleagues. Shout out to Derek. And but as a parent too, like I could not be more happy. Like the
Yeah.
stuff my kids come home and talk about, it's like. I kind of do the old school, like when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I had to march through the desert and all that.
Yeah.
It's only like half true. Like,
Yeah. I mean, Texas. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
I pranced. I didn't
Yeah.
even march through the desert. I pranced.
Yeah.
I rode a bike.
Yeah.
But no, that's work is what brought me here, and honestly didn't know how long it would last. I've been in Korea about 14 years now.
That's
and,
right.
Worked at a lot of different schools, and
And not even like we're not. You did a bit of time in Seoul,
For sure.
but also outside of Seoul,
Oh,
Jeju.
yeah, Jeju, Sachon,
Yeah.
the fake Gwangju, the one that's in Gyeonggi-do.
Okay. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
But yeah, I've kind of been all over. But so I didn't really know, like, is this really what I knew I wanted to stay in Korea. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really sure if, the beach life would be, I don't know why it wouldn't be, but I
Right.
just thought, I don't know what this is going to
Right.
bring. But it's, like the more we stayed, the more I just kind of soaked it in. And it's just an amazing place, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier off camera that your daughters do understand that Jeju is your home.
This is this is home at this point, and
Yeah.
we talk about it. They're getting ready to kind of start thinking about high school and college, and we
Right.
talked about where you might be interested in going. And
Right.
I always end the conversation with, now Pops is going to stay here, so wherever you guys go, if you go to Europe, you go to the States, that's fine.
Yeah.
Dad, this is home for me.
This is it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is it. I mean, why wouldn't it be? This place is amazing. So.
Oh, well, okay. Well, let me ask you, what makes it so amazing to you?
So I'm from a small town in Texas, and kind of a country boy at heart. And there's parts of Jeju that are very much country life, especially in Seoul. And that's comfortable for me.
Yeah.
A younger side of me would have been more interested in going to that city life. And when I was younger, lived in 5 years in Seoul.
Same.
Loved it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Seoul life there's always something going on.
Yep. Yeah,
There's
it's
never
exciting.
not something.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Your priorities change when you have kids. For some,
Okay.
I know there's plenty of fathers that still able to raise their kids in the big city. But for me, I wanted, better air quality, better outside.
That was a
life.
big one for me.
Makes
Is
a
the
difference.
air quality, man? I don't know if you've been up to because I just have completed my first year in Jeju.
Sure.
So I was up in Seoul pretty recent, and I was right there and working in Yeouido. The air was just 2018, 2019. That was crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
feel it on my skin. I can
Yeah.
feel it everywhere
Yes.
I breathe.
Yep. Yeah.
I didn't really want that for my kids.
Right.
And ironically, and I know every parent out there has different experience. We can talk about it later if you're interested. But
Yeah.
about, like the multicultural experience, I felt like we stuck out so much more in Seoul.
Okay.
Like from the moment we left Seoul, we got to Gyeonggi-do and then to Gyeongsan-namdo. The further south we went, I kept thinking,
Yeah.
be like back home, and
Yeah.
whereabouts you from? And
Yeah.
it's kind of the opposite. When I was in Jeju and Sacheon, if I could speak the language and if I was, at a restaurant or a coffee shop, they're just happy to see somebody.
Just happy to have you.
Hey man, like,
Yeah.
would you like to sit over here? It wasn't like, where are you from? And
Right. Right. People just wanting to practice English or what have you,
And
or
then,
whatever.
Yeah, like, I remember it being so like you're sitting there reading a book intently. Everyone's packed like sardines, and somebody's
Yeah.
tapping your shoulder, and you're like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah.
You want to speak in English? I'm like, not at the moment.
Yeah.
Going to work right now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But to answer your question, though, Jeju, it's been more of that. It's
Okay.
been more of kind people, generous people, and also just kind of people in the nicest way possible that sort of don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that in a sweet way. It's sort of like, hey, man, you do you, we're going to do us. And
Yeah.
I've really responded well to that of like, thanks.
Yeah.
I love that we can just kind of be ourselves and we can be different, but
Right.
also it's kind of unapologetically
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
And I understand the tourist trade and whatnot, but
Yeah.
like for the main part, this is as good as it gets. It's an
Yeah.
amazing place.
I mean, I'm starting to slowly like make friends. I mean, I'm making one today. I hope. I hope so.
Yeah,
we can
man.
hang out afterwards. This is not just where a relationship ends. I hope. But yeah, I feel that in Seoul, it's like, hey, you want to hang out? It's like, okay, when can I pen you in? Right? You really, like both of us need to match up our schedules because we are living the freelancer life or not, just working at like a major conglomerate, what have you.
Yeah.
But here it's very just like, hey man, you want to hang out and
Kind of
yeah.
like us, we're like, what works for you?
Yeah.
I guess Sundays?
Yeah. I know that's where it's tough because even meeting with guests, I'm like, what works for you? And they'll be like, well, what works for you? I'm like, but I asked that question.
I've liked kind of adapting to that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, the trade-off, as you know, nothing is open when they say it's going to open.
Oh my goodness!
Dude,
Thank you for
know
saying
exactly
that.
What I'm talking about.
Thank you for saying that. Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't want to. We're not going on a tirade here against Jeju or anything, but and then they switch the days sometimes, and it'll be like like every third Wednesday or something, and it's just like, but I'm hungry. Like,
You show up and you call that number that's on the cover, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Hi, are you working today?" And they're like,
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful day. I kind of went hiking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Proper siestas, right? That's the thing that we have learned. If you're here in Jeju, just call. Just call. You
just a
can't
quick
rely
little
on.
call. Yeah.
You just got to call. Call them if you're open. Not.
Neighbors
And they're
don't
not
like
offended
it.
by it
No.
because they're like, yeah, we don't know sometimes. Yeah. All right, brother. So back to music.
Yeah.
Okay. And we learned about how you started and you began this journey. Let's talk about influences in your
Sure.
work. Like, who or what influences the sound of your work? Because I'll tell you something. I've had the chance to listen to his album several times, and there are some songs, for example, Out Here.
Yeah.
I was listening to this, and it's one of those like, what year is it? Because I feel like it's like 2003, proper alternative. I'm talking like Hoobastank,
Yeah.
Incubus kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking
You've
about?
got a great ear. So
Yeah.
those who work in the industry know that every song has to have something called a reference track.
Yeah.
So when you're working with an engineer, you need to have some sort of previous work. It's not a plagiarism thing. It's a EQ thing. Like
Okay.
you need to be able, not the song form, but like, how do you want this track to sound? Like,
Yeah.
what do you envision the drums? How do you envision how loud the vocals should be? And so off the top of my head, I can tell you every song has a reference track that we worked with, like
Yeah.
track by track. So
Yeah.
Hoobastank was the one for Out Here. I was like,
Is that right?
I
Is that right?
love the
Oh
drums
man,
for that.
really? Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it was Out of Control. I think that was the
Yeah,
song.
okay,
I
Out of
was like,
Control, yeah.
I love how the
Yeah.
electric guitar sounds. And I wasn't even huge on them back in the day, but as I've gotten older, I'm kind of going back to that early 2000s alt rock. And I'm like, this holds up
It
really
does.
well. And I don't know if that's a comment on like current music. It's just so awful.
Yeah.
Or if it's just, I didn't know how good it was at the time. You know?
Yeah, that's true too. I think it was very just a pleasant experience for me because I'm like, like I had to look up Incubus again. I was like, okay, I know that band that does Drive and that got that cool video.
Yeah.
What is it? Like I had to like re-look them up, even though I like listen to them all the time on the local radio. But yeah, with your music, and I'll let you continue with your influences. But some songs there is a bit of twang of country in there.
For sure.
You know, some others is definitely more rock, proper rock. So tell us. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know if I have a good answer, and maybe
Yeah.
other artists that are out there, they kind of can share this feeling. I don't know why I make the stuff that I do. It's sort of like, why does a painter paint?
Okay.
You know, you just do.
Yeah.
And for me, I listen to, like all people, I listen to a lot of different kind of music, and
Yeah.
I think I definitely still on heavy rotation. You know, the hard, Killswitch Engage, not like super death metal. Like
Yeah.
I'm sitting there doing dishes, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna murder your family.
Yeah.
You know, like I
Proper
feel
like
Yeah.
pro wrestling Titantron
Yeah, it's
music.
like,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
what is this?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, why do we do the music that we do?
Yeah.
I feel like I need to express something because I'm not good at talking.
Okay.
So
You're doing a great job today.
I'm doing okay. man.
Yeah, you're doing all right.
But what influences this sound? I can't put a word on, like, I would like to say that the band Iron and Wine is definitely someone that influences me just because I like them. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm going for an Iron and Wine album, or I wouldn't want to say I'm doing like a Hoobastank album.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like a bad relationship. Like, man, it just happened. I don't know. She ran into me.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
That's how I feel. Like, it's just sort of these songs, the process, it just sort of happened.
Mm-hmm.
And when they happen, I kind of don't take an ownership over it. It's sort
Yeah.
of like I'm a vessel for that song, and then, wow, I guess we're gonna make a singer-songwriter song today that's gonna be like quiet and come more of country style. And then other times I'm like, this is a song that has to be told with electric guitar.
Okay.
Like, I need drums on this. I need
Yeah.
bass. I need
Yeah.
like pushing vocals. And
Right.
So I've gone back and forth about what kind of artist I want to be, what kind of
Yeah.
genre I want to like chase, and I've never really come up with a great answer. And at
Hmm.
this point, actually almost recently, I've just sort of, I'm okay with just continuing to chase what I want to express. And if that means I'm going to do a lo-fi album next, then great. And if I
Right.
want to do like full-on rock band stuff, like that's great too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's a great answer to your question.
That's
but
a fantastic answer. I mean, that's the thing is like, yeah, I mean, again, we're like cutting this out. We're leaving several times throughout this interview. Yeah, I mean, that, as you said, as someone who is an artist, sometimes you just have to just go with it, right? And each piece is its own thing. Like, you might fall into a pattern or you might be known for this kind of stuff, but it's just the way it works. Now, if we're talking about, we were talking about maybe musical influences or musicians, but what about like other kinds of influences? Say you living and moving to Korea,
For sure.
and even moving, not just being in Korea, moving around, having a family. How has that influenced your music?
I honestly think without doing the life that I'm living now, there'd be no reason for the music. It's sort
Yeah.
of like, it feels a creative pocket that I'm otherwise unable to express. And so a lot of these songs are written with an acoustic guitar on a couch with a cat next to me. It's
Nice.
sort of like, it just sort of happens. Like I don't want to make it seem like mysterious, like, hey man, the chords just found me, because that's not true. Like I've studied music theory, and there's definitely like, there's emotions we can evoke with certain chords and certain
Okay.
melodies.
Yeah.
So, but I think at this point, it's just sort of, it's instinctive. I don't think well, according to the circle of fifths, if I go to this key, like I honestly don't think that anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe when I first started out, but at this point, it's just sort of like, what do I want to say, and like how can I express it with the limited tools that I have, and I just sort of allow it to happen.
Right.
And later, I look at it as a product, like, oh wow, this song is really sad.
Would you say like you're saying like I don't want to get into the theories, I don't need to, but would you say that it's so natural now because that's like that philosophy and theories and all these music theory is just ingrained into your being? It's just like you can just like kind of
Absolutely, and I think those who have even better chops than me, they're even more further away from like, oh, should I do a plagal cadence at the end of this song, and should I do a dominant seven? Well, that minor seven has this better color.
Yeah.
At this point, they're just sort of like, are you talking about this note? Yeah, and it's like they know it as well.
Yeah.
But instinctively, you don't really think of it anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe any more like than you'd go to a gym and you think of muscle groups.
Yeah.
At the same time,
Sure.
you're just in the gym. You're doing what you need to do. You're doing the reps, and you don't really think anymore of like at first, the first time you go, you're definitely counting. You're doing one.
Right. Muscle connection and
Absolutely.
yeah.
At this point with music, for me, it's if I'm in front of a keyboard, it's just sort of like, what do I need to say right now? And then you kind of allow yourself to doodle, the equivalent of doodling. And I used to think, like, is this wrong? Because, like, I don't know
I'm just imagining, if you're familiar with Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Charlie, how he just starts, and he just starts like,
for sure.
He's going into it, yeah.
I've been listening to some other like music creation podcasts and whatnot, and it turns out even some of the greats, this is exactly what they do. They have a voice memo on their phone. Like
Yeah.
Corey Wong is somebody that I respect as a guitarist,
Okay.
and somebody who can do like proper funk that's like modern and whatnot.
Nice.
He writes songs on his audio memo constantly. You can hear his kids playing in the background. He's like, hey, this is what it sounded like at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's like notes to your future self. Like,
Yeah.
hey, Matthew, you've got the caper on the 3rd fret. You're thinking about a major 7 here, but maybe here. And it's just like, you listen to it later, months later, sometimes years later, and you're like, this is killer. Like, why didn't I pursue this more? But you just have to allow yourself to make plenty of mistakes.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I wonder if it's just us becoming more wise or just being an old person or something. Because writing memos is legit for anything, for life, for
creativity.
I like my notepad or whatever on my phone is just filled with just random stuff.
Yep.
Because maybe we're just getting older. You just forget too, but it's really, really valuable.
And I think it's because you value that creativity, and this moment is the moment I made it. And I don't know if I'll analyze it later. I might use it later. But I've learned that the older I'm getting, I've had to turn off the teacher mode in me of like the analytical mode.
Okay.
I just have to say, like, don't make judgments. This is so basic.
Yeah.
This is nothing. No one's going to care about this. Don't think like that.
Okay.
Write it down now and allow your future self to get into it or not.
Right.
And that's served me really well. So.
Sage advice, man.
Telling you.
This is great. This is gonna be a great episode. I'm happy. It's not even in the script, and it's awesome.
Cool.
All right. So you kind of talked about it a little bit, but can you tell us when it comes to your music and your work, how has it changed like over time? I mean, going back to you living in Korea. Were there significant events, or was it more just like a gradual? I mean, it makes it you make it seem like it's kind of like a natural thing but were there any like things?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mark. I would say when my kids were really little, for about 5 years, I didn't even touch a guitar. Like I couldn't even fathom it. It was just sort of, for those who don't know, like I'm a single dad. And so when they were really little, it was just sort of like survival mode. Like I need to change diapers, I need to feed, and I need to go to work.
You had to get a citizenship, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it was not the time to be like, I want to express myself. And I think, mental health aside, man, that was a formative moment of my life, and it was an extended moment of my life where I just sort of had to pause my self-development for a long time.
Right.
And I think because of that, I've never lost that connection of, I wouldn't say suffering, but like we'd call it in the Navy, like suffer in silence.
Okay.
It was just postpone it. Don't think about the event right now. You just need to get your job done. And I continue to do that year after year after year. Eventually, the girls and I were thick as thieves. And eventually, they're doing well in school, and
They're doing really well. They're doing really well. You can be proud that they're top of the class.
they're okay.
Yeah, they're top of the class.
But and then so they're doing well, and so I sort of allowed myself to be like, what were the things that I did when I wasn't in panic mode?
Yeah.
So 5-6 years later, I used to play bass and acoustic guitar a lot. I loved it, and I found joy in it, and so like all musicians are that are getting back into music, started playing covers, and then that sort of wears out, at least for me, wore out really quick, where I'm like, I kind of don't want to play this song anymore because I didn't write it, and it's like, it's cool, and I like listening to it, but I kind of like how they played it better. Yeah. And then just slowly but surely, you allow yourself to, allow yourself to be creative. And again, don't be the person that judges your own work. Like a lot of people have asked me, like, what is your favorite song? And my answer is always the same. It's the next song I'm writing. Like my current stuff, like I'm done with it. I've already made it, and I've moved on. Like allow yourself to continue to make something special. Don't try to hold on to something and make judgments on it, because if people like it, that's great. But in the end, I didn't make it for anybody else but me. Yeah. So it's like, all right, well, mission accomplished.
I'm so glad that you said that, you have to like allow yourself to be creative. I think when we're younger, it's just like automatic, and we're in school, and it's just like we're kind of forced to. But if you have been in a place, in a dark place, it is terrifying to like get started and to like be creative, as you. It's so scary.
We're in such a like media-driven society too, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I definitely think it's so competitive, and there's thousands and thousands of songs that are released on Spotify every day.
Yeah, right.
You can get lost in thinking, what do I contribute to this? I mean,
look what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like I was really discouraged. It's scary. Yeah.
But at the same time, like you understand, like why do we do it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The painter paints.
Yeah.
This is what I do. Yeah. Like you enjoy meeting people. You enjoy listening to the stories of other people. You have that creativity and that bravery of like, man, I kind of want to go out. Come on, man. You do. You absolutely do. And I, it's not to self-criticize myself that much, but I'm not the greatest singer, I'm not the greatest songwriter, not the greatest guitar player, but that's not the point. I had something to say, I wanted to say it, so I made it. And like,
that's dope.
How often do we get to create something instead of critique it?
Yeah.
Now, it's so easy for us to look at any form of media. Like, well, I don't like the ending of Game of Thrones. I've done something different. Well, you didn't know.
Isn't that so true?
Like, what did you make?
Well, that's the thing is like, because I studied art, and one of the biggest things is, if we had this like cup on the table here, right? And it's just like cup on the table, like $5 million piece of art, right? And people can say all the time that, well, I could do that. And my professor would be like,
but you didn't.
But you didn't, right? Yeah. So, and it's I think, and as a creator yourself, what's kind of pleasant is, because I was in the machine, I was working for production and radio, but like, it's really nice to like have a finished product and be like, okay, this is done. I am going to send it out. I'm going to play this song, and it's out when I want it to be out. It doesn't have to go through a process. Now, on the downside is, if anything gets screwed up, it's on this guy. There's a whole lot of silent suffering going on there. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the more and more we talk, I can see the more that actually just our medium is different, honestly, because it's the same. We approach it the same way. Yeah. You can't think of it in a way of like, who's going to listen to this? Who cares about this? Right. Like you mentioned in the beginning, like I'm the first one that reached out. I reached out because you're doing something different, man. Like you, like I always kept thinking, I don't have the personality to do what you do, but I kept thinking, this is such an interesting place. Why don't we have more folks doing this? It's like there's so many stories on this island.
There is.
And your first couple of episodes, I saw it, and I just thought, this is the guy. I got to talk to this guy.
Thanks, man.
And I don't like
goosebumps. Goosebumps. Thank you so much. Really. I don't know what else to say other than I'm just happy. I'm just happy that you're here and that we're just talking and chilling and we're totally friends. We're friends now. And totally friends.
Yeah, Mark, I'm going to stop you there. Can we put this up on the post edit? We got to talk about your hair because it's amazing. Oh. Can we go back to that photo? You know what I'm talking about. Insert. There's a photo of you a long time ago, not with the long hair that you have.
Oh, when I shaved head? Yeah.
No, you got the Pama,
The perm?
Yeah.
Okay, what photo was that? When was that?
Don't worry about that part.
Oh, I gotta look it
We
up
gotta
now.
talk about your hair, man.
Okay.
You have the most luxurious hair I've ever seen. I'm so envious. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, this is me. I'm fine
Yeah.
with it.
It's called
But bro, like-
air dry. I take a lot of people off because they're just, but it's out of control. So I get hot easily, so it becomes very
you
Maui. You know what I mean? Like it grows this way. My shadow just becomes like, yeah.
total hunk, man.
Oh.
Like, I'm just saying. That hair.
My goodness. Yeah. So we're getting a signal from PD. She's like, enough of stroking Marksy Go. That's what happens. That's what I was like, all right, that's enough. So right now, your latest album,
Yep.
Back to Me, just dropped. And before we get into it, I'm so excited. We have the honor of having Matthew perform a piece for us. So please take it away.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
You said your goodbyes and you walked away. I said I'd respect it anyways. I'll be just fine until you called again, finding your way back to me. So here we go. Here's round two. Place your bets. Who will win? 'Cause I don't want this fight. No, not here, not now, not tonight. What's the point? You said your goodbyes and you walked away. I said I'd respect it anyways. I'll be just fine until you called again, finding your way back to me. 'Cause I poured out my heart in the doorway. Me, there's no future. You're afraid I'll be just fine until you try again, finding your way back to me. You said your goodbyes and you walked away. I said I'd respect it anyways. I'll be just fine.
Yeah! Oh, that sounded great. That was fantastic. How'd it feel, man?
It always feels weird.
Yeah? Well, it sounded great. It sounded great. We're in this, very large empty. I'm gonna guess it's a former classroom, and Though I wish you're here with us to listen, because the way it resonated off of the stone walls, awesome.
cool.
It's almost like cathedral-y, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like open.
The natural ambience of this room. It's really, really cool.
And also, you're really great. So it's on it. That was
Thank
great.
you.
And we had a audience in here as well. So, I don't know if we'll put it in the edit, but he sang it twice. So thanks very much. Yeah,
man.
And they'll remember that too, which
For
is
sure.
nice.
Well, I mean, part of the reason why I wanted us to come out here is I feel like this location, it couldn't be more appropriate for somebody like myself. Like,
Yeah.
I'm an elementary school teacher. This is a former elementary school.
Yeah.
I'm a huge coffee lover. The coffee here is really good.
Yeah.
And I like the what is it? The policies here. Kids, it's like a open kid zone, open pet zone.
Yeah.
It's open for everybody. And what's even better is it's not even privately owned. It's owned by the local people of Myeongno-ri. So
Yeah.
it's like a co-op.
Yeah.
They all share profits in it, and they all do community-style events. So when I first started playing music, this was the place that I was like, this might have been the first place I ever performed. Just down the hall, where I thought, I think I'm ready to play music.
Oh,
And
cool.
Called up the owner, and he was just like, I just thought I loved how. I don't know. It was very Jeju-like an answer. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
what time would you like me to come, sir? And he's like, 편하신 대로. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Great. I don't know when that is, but I'll think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was blown away with just the atmosphere of this entire place. Every classroom here, former classroom. There's a gift shop in one. The main cafe's in another. You got the full playground, grass field. You don't get that in Seoul.
No.
Like a nice grass field out there, old basketball nets. They have a small. It seems almost like a small sanctuary for 4 or 5 dogs there. Yeah.
I love that this place is like,
Yeah.
it's just so open to everybody. And I'm always surprised that more people don't know about it. So
Yeah.
I was so happy that you were down with filming here, because
Yeah.
I just thought, the prices are reasonable, and I don't know, it's just a good feeling to know that it's sort of like being reused. Like, this is a place that was used for 25 years for school, but like the building itself is still sound. And I like that somebody thought, you know what, let's just open it back up. Why not? And,
right.
You've seen that in other places on the mainland, that they'll turn old schools into like artists in residences, or they'll do like, a film, little mini cinema thing. And,
Right.
But I think this is where it's at. This is just such a Jeju thing too.
Yeah.
We're like, well,
Yep.
let's just use it.
Yeah, and just all the architecture, the structure, the doors, it's all original. Yep. You know what I mean? I mean, it opened in 1955, but even 93 is not a short time ago.
No.
As much as we think it's like, oh yeah, it's like 10 years ago. We're like, no,
like-
wait, we're old.
It was like last Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. The 90s, yeah. So let's talk about Back to Me.
Okay.
And let's talk about the inception and the production and the release, all the good stuff.
For sure. So this is it's kind of a project that I've been wanting to do for a while, like a bucket list. This is my second full-length album. My first album was a learning experience. I think is the politically correct way of saying that it was a bomb, it was a stinker. But that was completely self-produced, and I liked the process of making it. But I knew that going forward from here on out, like, I need to work with somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Allow myself to compartmentalize, and I thought, I need to work with somebody that knows how to get something good out of me, somebody that I can collaborate.
Yep.
You'd mentioned earlier about like what inspires me, and like for me, the reason why I guess I was skirting around the answer about music is that, of course, music inspires me, but more so working with other creatives. So whether that's film, whether that's practical art, whether that's podcasting, interviewing, like that inspires me. I guarantee the next album will have a song called Mark on it. There will not be a song called Mark on it. No, but honestly, like real talk. That's what inspires me. So I reached out to a guitar friend of mine that's up in Jeju City. Shout out to my boy Hans. Hans just shreds it. He also played a little bit on here.
Oh, great.
On Out Here.
Yeah, we'll put him up.
Yeah,
we'll put him up.
Good dude, straight dude. And he recommended a guy named Jin Hyuk, what I call him Dave. And Dave runs a studio up in Jeju City called 064 Sounds.
Okay.
That's where it's at. If you are a musician on the island, if you're looking to record with anybody, that's the place to go.
One more time, what is it again?
064 Sounds.
Okay.
And he's incredible. He's got all the analog onboard gear. He's got digital stuff. He's got the know-how to work in multiple DAWs. Like he you know, I always thought it was a little bit pretentious when you see award shows when they start thanking the producers or the,
Yeah.
I want to thank the assistant second director. Like, you don't know that guy.
Yeah, right,
I
but-
get it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
actually get it. Like,
Yeah.
anytime somebody says, oh, that album sounds great, it's not just out of humbleness. Like I always say, dude, Dave is the reason why that album
Yeah.
sounds as good as it does.
Yep.
Because he would not accept anything less than like really, really good. He's like, you're going to take that again.
Yeah.
What I thought was a good take.
And
he's
you're like, but I'm the artiste. They're like,
Yeah.
no, that, yeah.
and he knows how to do it in a way that respects the artist too.
Okay.
So like he's a musician as well. He's a
Oh, yeah.
percussionist and
Okay.
he's sort of jack of all trades. But he knew the right way to communicate with somebody who's I'm much older than he is, and I thought at first, this young
Right.
guy, he's gonna
Yeah.
do the Hyung Neem thing of like,
Yeah.
oh Hyung Neem, you know,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that. No,
Yeah.
like when it was work mode, he was like, we're gonna do that again.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
we are gonna do that again.
Yeah.
And I'd like, but and then like he would offer like practical advice. He's like, how do you hear this playing out? Do you want to double this? Do you want to? What kind of effects do you want to put on? And he would ask the right questions instead of like, do you want to just leave it there?
Right.
Like he would say, how do you feel about this? And that back and forth.
It forces you to be real too.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes. And it like I'm sometimes squirrely about my music. I'm like, well, I don't know. What do you want to hear? He forced me like, all right. So what's the reference track for this song? I'm like. Do you know Phoebe Bridgers? She's pretty cool. He's like, give me a song name. That one on her album from like COVID times. You
Yeah.
remember? He's like, you need to come back with me with a plan. And I was like,
Oh.
yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I do. So
Yeah.
shout out to Dave.
Awesome.
He got me to start thinking more practically, and he asked the right questions. And I think any musician, that's what we dream of, and we so rarely get it. Like this was maybe the 4th or 5th time I was in a studio, but this was hands down my favorite studio experience.
That's awesome.
Like I looked forward to it every weekend. Like
Yeah.
waking up early, driving up to him, and then just he was, you know, balls to the wall, like rubber to the road, and he's like, let's just go.
Yeah.
And we worked like all Saturday or all Sunday, and
Yeah.
did that for weeks and weeks and weeks. But originally, I only just wanted to do a song. I thought, let me just get a single track going, and it was such a good experience that I thought, but he too, I was like, how do you feel about this? He's like, we're going to do an album.
Isn't that funny how that works? How you're just like, you like the dude and the experience so much, like you force yourself to just make more work, make more, yeah.
As soon as we were done with that song, instead of be like, oh, that was great. Well, thank you. I'll make sure I'll get this mastered over the weekend and contact me if you'd like to work together. He was just like straight as an arrow. He's like, so what else do you have?
Yeah.
I was like, do you have time? He's like, I have time. Let's go. I mean, mics are on. Let's go. I was like, I have another song. And then he listened to it and he gave like practical feedback. He's
Right.
like, I like this. All right, BPM. BPM. I don't know. What is that?
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like when I teach music, I'm way more specific. Like,
Right.
I'm like methodical.
But when you're like put on the spot, you're,
what's
yeah.
the chord? That one.
Can you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, do you want the tone to be? I was like, I'm just gonna start playing. Could you fix that for me? And,
Yeah.
and I liked that type of relationship. Again, like just to repeat myself, I feel like every musician wants that and doesn't even know that it's out there.
That's right.
Like,
I don't-
do you
yeah,
know
they
that
don't-
That's an option.
Right.
To work with somebody that gets the best cut at it.
They put a lot on themselves. Maybe they think that they just realize that it's all gotta be me, it's all gotta be this in production, but it's just, yeah.
Yeah, and then from there, I reached out to a good friend of mine that's over in Jumun, Jinshik. Shout out to my boy Pak Jinshik. You are the guy. You are the guitarist of Jeju. He is down for anything. If I said, hey man, I've got a track, I kind of want you to play that real pretty arpeggio, that little
Yeah.
light and airy part and back to me. Like he's like, I gave him a quick concept. I don't know, something that's like ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. And he's like, got it.
Yeah.
Came over and he recorded it at my little home studio, and we added it on. And like, I want to say maybe that was the second take. Like he nailed it.
Wow.
I think we did start to finish that song in like less than 30 minutes. It was wild. I was so angry at him.
People are so good.
He's so
it's
good.
scary.
And he's like,
yeah.
형님이 you 어때요? And I was like,
Yeah.
yes
Yeah.
to everything you're
Yeah.
doing. And he,
Yeah.
again, just asked the right question. So it inspires me. Like working with him, it really inspires me. Working with with Dave. in his studio that inspires me, and it makes me want to keep making music. So,
Yeah. And not just the music itself, you got a really amazing music video as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, walk us through that.
I would love to talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yes.
So Mike over at Real Steel Productions, Mike is a longtime Jeju resident, originally from Canada. He's been on TV quite a lot recently. I actually just saw him on TV just like last week.
Oh, okay.
He's fluent in Korean, so he gets a lot of speaking roles in film and TV. And he's just a genuine dude. He's smart.
Yeah.
He's got a vision. And he does a lot of acting and voiceover work, but at his heart...
Wait, I have met Mike. Yes, I know. Okay, yeah, okay. Yes,
Big guy, beard guy.
Yeah.
He's just a good dude.
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine, going back to Derek, shout out to my boy Derek, I mentioned, I think this track's got potential for a story. And I wanted to tell a story visually, and I'm not a visual dude. So
Yeah.
I asked, hey man, do you know anybody, and he said, yeah. Don't you know Mike? And he hooked us up, and working with him, again, so inspiring. We met over coffee, a single cup, and I had my crummy little PowerPoint presentation with like 10 slides and a little like pencil and paper storyboard.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And of course, I'm not a video guy, so everything to me is a pan.
Right.
So then we pan left, and then we pan right.
Where do we put the dissolve?
Yeah.
Can we fade
Star
dissolve?
wipe.
Yeah.
And he used to say, so Matthew, I'm going to stop you there. That's not a pan. That's a zoom.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and he's like, that's a tilt.
Yeah.
But anyways, he could see, much like Dave, he could see the potential of the story to be told. And I like that he took on my baby of an idea of like, I would think other creatives might look at that and say, hard pass. That sounds like way too much work. Because I wanted a performance aspect, I wanted a story aspect, and he knew this is a 3-location shoot, and it's a 2-day shoot. This is not a small gig.
You can just see him working it out in his head.
Immediately he was like, okay, okay, so just seeing him work, it inspired me. It made me want to be like, oh, I got to work with you again.
Yeah, people are fascinating, man.
Yeah,
And
so he came up with a plan. He had the right gear, right editing, and just communicating with him was just so seamless.
Yeah.
And really, really happy how it turned out. So
yeah, we'll put a link. Please check it out. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful video.
I former sailor, right? So the whole like cussing like a sailor thing, it's real. And I remember him showing me the first cut of it, and he was like, all creatives. He's like, now if you don't like it, I was like, can you just press play, please?
Yeah.
Can we stop with the formalities?
Yeah.
He's like, now I want you to know okay, and he pressed play. I don't think I've dropped more F-bombs in a 3-minute. Like, he got it. He got exactly what I asked of him. And
that's great.
I don't know if I'd say like, well, my expectation wasn't there.
Right.
I wouldn't say that. It's just I didn't know what to expect. I've seen his work portfolio, and I knew he was a professional, and I knew he knew what he was doing. But like,
isn't that amazing how they like folks can actually like make it better than your own brain sometimes?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't seen the video, it tells a story, and it tells something that I feel like it harkens back to like you said, like early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
I kind of want us to. Can we not just do something super abstract? I want to tell a story, and it tells it. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well. And I still want to talk about this album here. I understand that one of the songs on the album became quite popular in a particular country, and we're not talking the States or Korea. Yeah, I heard about this. I'm really curious about this. Can you tell us about this?
I'm looking it up right now. So for those who don't know, Spotify is the #1 streaming, platform in the world. And I know these are probably going to be dated numbers by the time I post this, but we've got about 4,000 streams, which for an independent artist that's doing very minimal promotion, that's great.
Yeah.
But going back to what we're talking about, analysis and critiquing, I didn't know it was going to stick. For example, I thought one of my songs called "Come." It's just a very general song about when you're missing somebody, if I call you, would you come over and hang out? Like, it could be a romance song. It could be just like two bros, just like, hey, man, like I'm not good tonight, man. I need to spend time with somebody.
Yeah.
It's got real violins. It's got real cellos. It's properly point counterpoint, like 4-part harmony. Dud. Nobody likes it. It's just like me. And then out of nowhere in Brazil, apparently, they're loving Out Here.
Yeah.
My like rock song.
I knew it. I knew it would be Out Here. I feel,
Dude, so you can see like nobody in Korea likes it. But
Yeah.
I think that's also partly because Spotify isn't as big here, you know, Melon and Vibe, and
Right.
it's out there. But
Right.
let me see if I can find the. You can see the countries of. Here we go. My top listeners: Brazil, 484 people; U.S., France, Mexico, Philippines.
Yeah.
Korea's like at the bottom of this list.
And I hear you get messages in Portuguese and stuff.
And they're like,
Yeah.
I don't. You know.
That's great.
I've broken-
You gotta go. You have to go.
I have no idea why, but you can see who's added your song
Yeah.
to what personal playlist. And
Yeah.
it's like there's like editorial playlists,
Yeah.
there's like listener playlists. Someone out there in Brazil has added it to like a rock playlist that's got like Evanescence, Linkin Park, and
Oh,
like,
that's that 2000s, man. 2000s
there's
alt rock.
my song in there, and people they save it, they message me, and they're like, "We need more of this," and it just, this song out here is written about a foreigner's perspective
Yeah.
of living in Korea. It's
Right,
like-
that's right.
It's like a complicated feeling of like, you know, out here, it's hard to live, but also
Yeah.
it's home. This
Yeah.
is home for me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it feels like home, but it's not an easy life. Like we're choosing this life, but
Mm-hmm. That's
yet
true.
nobody's forcing you to go through this, you know, these strange cultural
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
interactions and all that. So it's a complicated relationship I have with living in Korea, but 14 years going on, this is home.
Yeah.
Like this is my adult life home.
Yeah.
So why in the world would people of Brazil connect to that? It might just be a simple. It sounds. It's a
It could be just the sound.
electric guitar sounds really
Yeah,
good, and
yeah.
they're just like, yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's awesome.
I
It's so
did-
fun how that works out sometimes. It's just, again, yes, I've done work before, and you put so many, and you're like, this is it. This is the one.
this is the one that's going to catch fire.
Yeah.
And no. one
And then, but then it'll be something like, really?
That
I mean,
one?
okay, I'm not complaining, but yeah.
There's another song in there called "Let Me Count the Reasons Why,"
Mm-hmm.
and that's like probably my most personal song because other than putting her name into it, I feel like if you know who this is, it's so obvious
Okay.
who I'm writing about. And
Yeah.
I thought no one's gonna like this, and it's just me and a guitar.
Yeah.
And I did, you know, there's no pitch correction, which is
Mm-hmm.
painfully obvious in many places, and I did a single little violin take, like towards the end,
Mm-hmm.
no editing, nothing, on purpose. Like I want this to be raw. I want this to
Yeah.
be like Elliott Smith style analog recording where it's just like you get one take.
Right.
And it is like the entire take is that's it.
Wow.
So it was a personal project. I thought this is a song for me. Sometimes it's a song for them. Like this is for me. And that's now it's pitted to be my number one song because like people have put that all on these like best indie acoustic song playlists, and it's being shared like wildfire out in Europe. So like France, that's the
so,
number one.
you know-
Like, you guys like that?
Yeah.
Do you? Okay.
World tour, man, coming
like,
up.
I put
2024
I
World
put
tour.
Fight Club reference in that. You like that song?
Yeah,
Like, Huh. I wrote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it's cool. All cheese aside and all joking aside,
Mm-hmm.
if someone can have an emotional reaction to a song that I've written, something
Yeah.
that started out on my couch,
Yeah.
like what greater gift can you possibly give to anybody?
It's true.
And the way that we respond towards music, I kind of wanted to give that to someone else. And even if one person out there, may they be in Brazil or not, if
Yeah.
just says, this is the song that gets me pumped. This is the song that gets me worked up. Like,
That's awesome. That's a cool feeling, I
Yeah,
think,
it's
you know.
inspiring.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of make you just want to do more. Yeah.
And I keep thinking, like, do I want to do more of the alt rock? Do I want to
Yeah.
do more of the indie stuff? And
Right.
as I mentioned before, I've gotten to the point now where I'll just keep on doing both.
Yeah.
I dig
Do it all.
both.
Yeah.
Every time I hear something that inspires me, I think, I can't pick one. I'm just going to keep on doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep on going back to the studio, and then
Yeah.
you know,
Worth
you
it.
guys will figure it all out too.
Absolutely.
Right, definitely. All right, man. Well, another major project that is coming up for you is a 20-track instrumental. We're talking all lo-fi, no vocals, inspired by Jeju. And before we get into it, well, you've been kind enough to provide a sample for us,
Yeah.
and we'd love to hear it. Has any of this been heard before?
I mean, some people have heard it for
Yeah.
sure. And this
Okay.
is, again, I don't think I've ever played it live, but most of the songs that are on that that's going to be on this upcoming album, they're all really heavily influenced with delay and reverb, and there's a lot of layers, and it's a mood kind of. It's a concept album, I would say.
Yeah.
It's one of those you press start to finish, and it should make you feel like you're going through all 4 seasons of Jeju.
Okay.
Working with like a local artist.
Okay.
Like working with another videographer for a music video.
All right.
But there's a few tracks I could say that it's just me and a guitar, and it should invoke just with the name of like, I mean, they're all true stories. I wrote them in those locations. Like,
Yeah.
So the song I'm going to play is called Woljongli, and that song, almost like lightning in a bottle. I remember grabbing a guitar early morning after finding a pension. My kids were still sleeping. I went out on the patio, and it just came to me. And that doesn't happen always for singer-songwriters. A lot of times you have to kind of get into work mode, and you have to, like any other job.
Yep.
All right, for the next hour, I'm going to write a song. But this one was just, I went out on the balcony, and I saw the ocean, and you could hear that wind, and it just came. I put the capo on a random spot, and I thought, where's my phone? I was like, brother, you need to listen to this.
Yeah.
And just left myself notes. And then when I got home after the trip, hammered it out. And that's the song. So
Awesome, man.
Want to play for you?
Go for it. Go for it.
All right. So this song is called Woljongli.
Yes. Oh. I closed my eyes and it kind of took me there, man. But that song did not go in the like directions that I thought it would go.
Right.
It's a good thing though.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a vibe. Like the idea is, it should kind of take you there. Like if in a perfect world, you would close your eyes and you can feel the waves coming back and forth. And Woljongli is not a super busy beach.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the feeling I got, that when the wind came, the waves came. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we have a release date? I mean, this is 20 tracks.
Yeah.
How far along are you?
So the songs are all written.
Okay.
I just got to go to the studio to nail them down.
Yeah.
But he's definitely going to pencil me in for some time.
Yeah.
I'm shooting for Christmas of this year. And if it doesn't happen then, shortly after.
And you're also planning, as you said, music videos as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Working with a local guy. Well, I say local that we work together. Yeah. Shout out to Eddie Gonzalez. He and I have already kind of scouted out a location.
Okay.
And working out for that. So
That's awesome. That's fantastic, man. Do you have, what else is lined up for you in the future, near future?
as you understand, Mark, like this place is a really unique island. It's a great place to live, but it's also kind of limited in that there's only so much space, right?
Yeah.
So everybody plays something. Everybody plays guitar or keyboard. But finding a good drummer or finding a good bass player is, I mean, it's, I wouldn't say impossible, but all of them are already gigging. They're already working.
Yeah.
So all the good drummers I know, they're working.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey man, do you want to we want to start playing live? And they're all, I'm already in 3 bands.
Yeah. Yeah. 3. Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
already they're the ones contacting me like, no, we need a bass player for our
Right.
band. Like, you've got this twisted. I'm contacting you because I need you to play bass for my band.
Yeah.
So what's your band's name? It's my name. What do you think I was doing contacting you? Oh, wow. So yeah, I guess what's next is I've already got a keyboardist lined up, got my guitarist lined up. I'm looking for a drummer and a bass player. So
Okay. Drummer, bass player.
holler at your boy.
Holla at your boy, and to get ready to go to Brazil. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No, as he says that now, you just wait. You just wait. Well, brother, how can we find you? How can we find your stuff? How can we look you up online?
Yeah, got a website. If you just search Matthew Smith and Jeju, or better yet, Matthew Smith back to me on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. It's all on there. And yeah, if you're listening to this, I would love to hear how you came across this. So if you've heard about me through this interview, this podcast, please holler at your boy. Say, hey, Mark sent me. I would love to find out how many are kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, and just a quick little plug. I know, with analog being a new thing, I've got LPs. I've got.
This is so awesome. Cassette? Yes.
When's the last time you saw a cassette?
I know. I need a Walkman. A proper Walkman. Yeah. I mean, this is it.
I mean, the
This is a proper tape right here. I mean, I love it.
Anybody who makes their own music knows that this was a bucket list, a long time coming.
There it
How
is.
cool would it be to get your stuff on CD, tape?
I know. I need to get a Walkman now. It's been a while, but I love it.
Passion project, man. But so happy to hang with you today and just chat. It's amazing.
The pleasure has really been all mine.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Well, if you're watching, please give a like, or better yet, subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram and find the podcast version on Apple, Spotify, and Podbang. And those links, of course, will be provided below. And if you'd like to be a guest or sponsor, I'd be about that. Feel free to reach us at hallahallapodcast@gmail.com. That's HALLAHOLLA podcast@gmail.com. And that will do it today for this episode. Matthew, thank you so much, man. Really. That has been fantastic. I've been your host, Marcos and Che, and I hope you join me next time on Halla Holla. See you later.